Welcome to our short video on the restoration of the Nativity done at St. John's Anglican Church in Bowmanville in January of 2021. The Nativity set was purchased in 1979 and was featured in our float in the Bowmanville Santa Claus Parade. It included Mary, Joseph, Jesus in the manger, angel, shepherd, ram, ewe, and lamb. In 1980, we also had a float in the Bowmanville Santa Claus Parade, and this time it also included the additional figures of the three wise men. The figures were showing much wear for their 40-plus years at St. John's. This was mostly caused by their storage in the original boxes, without protective packing material. The figures would rub and knock against each other, causing damage to the paint. As you can see, the boxes are not in the best of condition either. Let's hear from Patty Kingsley as she talks about her role in the project.
Okay, so thanks for listening in to see and find out what it is we've been doing during the last few weeks. As we've been doing YouTube services, we've also been taking time to just redo, if you like, all of our characters here in the Christmas story. And Charlene and Mary, myself, everyone who's been helping, forgive me if I missed anyone. We just noticed that as we were filming this year, well, I wasn't filming, but as the filming was being done, and we would zoom in on these wonderful cast of characters, that often they were breaking up and scratched, and some of them were even missing eyes. So we've taken a little bit of time just to redecorate a bit, or if you like, refresh the nativity characters so that we could hopefully enjoy them for a few more years. It was a big investment, I'm sure, years ago. And it's amazing what a little bit of love and cooperation and support of the wardens and containers that have been purchased. And so these can all be taken and put away carefully now. I've always loved them, really enjoyed them. So next year, when they all come out to tell us a story again, hopefully we can enjoy it and even enjoy it on film when we zoom in on their faces and whatnot. They're still showing their wear and their stress lines, but hopefully we can get 2 or 3 more years at least out of them, given how carefully we've been trying to handle them now. And Charlene has repaired, everything that was wiggling and wobbling now is all fixed and secure. So thanks so much for just checking in with us and being part of the process and enjoying this little video. Bye for now.
Let's have a closer look at some of the more damaged characters. First, we have the cow. His chin is bare and needs reconstruction, and the paint has worn off of his horns. Next is the shepherd, who is one of our more fragile figures. His crook has been broken off many times over the years. He also needed beard and toe reconstruction and showed paint wear on his robes. Joseph is the figure that probably needed the most work. His hair was worn, and he had developed a bald spot on the back. His forehead and his nose were scraped, his beard was worn, his robes were worn, and his eyes were unevenly painted. The figures had their paint refreshed by Patty Kingsley, who used her artistic skills to match the existing colors of the figures and breathe new life into their features. Some of the figures' beards, chins, noses, and toes needed reconstruction as they had worn away over the years. The shepherd's crook was reattached and his robes were refreshed. His beards and toes were also reconstructed. The cow lost all his white spots where the paint had been chipped and worn away, and his chin was reconstructed. All of the figures got a new makeover. Jesus had his lazy eye corrected, and Joseph now looks like a new man, with a full head of hair and beard. The characters all look fantastic now, and will look amazing at any further video close-ups. After the figures were painted, they were glazed to protect the paint. The colors are vibrant once again, and the golds are burnished. They will be a pleasure to see at the Nativity Festival each year. The figures weren't the only thing that was repaired. The manger was falling apart and rickety. It was surprising it stayed together for filming, as parts of it fell off afterward when it was moved. It has now been glued and nailed back together and is solid once again. Now that the figures were beautiful again, the next thing to consider was how to store them in order to protect them. New wheeled tubs were purchased, and it was time to figure out how they would fit in each storage tub. We investigated various packing materials to protect the figures while in storage. A new type of shipping bag is available that inflates with expanding foam that molds around what is being packed. We used several of these bags together to make sure each character would not shift in the tubs when they were lifted to be wheeled. Next, you will see a video of us inflating the bags and putting them into the tub and getting the lamb situated. As you can see, we push on the bottom of the bag, releasing the chemical reaction. The bag is then pumped back and forth in order to mix the chemicals. Once the reaction starts to take place, the bottom of the bag will start to inflate. At this point, we push on it to release it into the rest of the bag. We only have seconds to work now as we spread it around the bag and get it situated in the tub. We then place the character carefully on top and hold it in place as the foam expands around the character, holding it in place. As the foam cools, it hardens and sets, and the bag will be able to be reused for many years as it is molded into the shape of the character it is being held. Each tub has outlines drawn on the packing material for where the figures go. They are also labeled. There are also extra top pieces in some tubs to protect things like the cow's horns or the shepherd's crook. We have included visual instructions on how to pack each tub, taped to the underside of the tub lids. We hope that this will help people in the future to be able to store our figures safely. We also included reminders on how the characters should be handled. Characters should be carried with two hands, and they should never be carried by just their head, ears, horns, or chins. Unfortunately, the characters are showing some stress fractures from being carried around by just these body parts. Joseph is especially bad around his neck, and we are hoping to prevent further damage by carrying them properly. At long last, our characters were ready to be stored for the year. The packing had all been created, all of the instructions had been put on the lids, and the tubs had all been labeled for safe storage. The tubs are labeled on how they should be stacked, so that tubs that contain more delicate figures such as the cow or the shepherd with his crook are stored on top and do not have weight upon them. The tubs fit neatly under the stairwell, and the characters are now safely stored until their debut next Christmas. Thank you for listening to our video. It has been a labor of love.